It is No Gifts, Please, the parenting podcast by the pair with no real gifts, but a whole lot of gumption. Hey everyone, I'm Steve Noviello.
Hello, I'm Jenny Anchondo.
It is lovely to see you as always.
You too.
Well, thank you. One of the perks of having our own show is that we get to invite our friends on.
That's really kind of the whole point for it, right?
I mean, right?
It's like you get a house so you can entertain people, or like when you just get your driver's license, you want to drive your friends around.
Yeah.
It's like that. Like,
I mean, I thought you were the most interesting person I know, but
I mean,
kind of.
I mean, I am.
You are.
Have you ever had the boys and thought, oh gosh, I wish somebody could just take him to that practice?
You know what? No, because I am so scared of, now there is, we have like Alto's really big in our neighborhood. And I don't know if that like started where I live or
I think
I feel like it did. It was like a neighborhood Uber, and we've done stories on them, and Kimber, remember her?
Yes, of course.
She was the PR person for them. So, you know, and she's lovely. So, but we honestly are just now, and it was kind of like we were forced to, because of a situation, not because somebody like held a gun to my head, like where Doug, like I was transporting other kids, and Doug was like, he was like, what, you know, like, it's like, even like with other parents transporting the boys.
So had you not done a lot of carpooling or like I'll bring drop your boys off?
I'll tell you how it happened. So the very first one, we were invited to a play date with this lovely family, and she was like, we're going to do 6 of the boys at the house. And I was like, oh my God, like God bless, like 6 kids like you. And she goes, oh no, my husband will take them to the country club and they'll play there. And I was like, oh, so, and then I was like, oh, how are they getting there? How many car seats do you have? Like all of that. But it all kind of, so that was kind of like how we fell into it. Then there was another situation where we had a play date and I was picking up Jacob and a friend of his at school. And then there was a third kid whose mom was like, she couldn't get there or whatever it was, and had asked the mother of the kid that we were playing with, could you pick him up? And she's like, actually, Steve's picking up my son. So she texted me. She's like, could you take my son also? And I was like, yeah, sure. Like we could all have a play date, whatever. And I was like, I only have 2 car seats.
Alert,
right, I only have 2 car seats. Like, what do I do? So I just put one of them like in a seatbelt, like, and that was, I mean, what am I going to do? Put you on the hood? I mean,
go to Target and get a booster.
But like so now I have a collapsible booster that I keep in the trunk of my truck. And for all of those moments. But honestly, the Jacob's friends now, I mean, some of them are like about to be 8 and they're like,
they're huge. Like cool. They could drive.
Right. Seriously.
Yeah, they could drive. It is the absolute highlight of my life when somebody says, will you pick up my child and drop them off after whatever thing? Like,
because you like doing it.
I am obsessed.
I think it's fun too.
With it. It's so fun. Their conversations
are that's
so
the best.
Dear and so precious. And Brighton being an only child, like she's always wanting a little buddy.
Yeah, she's always alone in the car.
Companion. Yeah. Otherwise she's stuck with me, just absolutely drilling her. Like trying to act cool about like, how was your day? Whatever, just tell me or don't. But tell me. So I love when another child's in, because they're just being silly. They're being funny. They may request songs. They want to listen to Kids Bop. They don't like that one. They want to skip to the next one. They talk about who is Taylor Swift.
All the things.
Just it's so lovely. However, there are those times when both of us are working and things are just
there's a lot of moving around.
And there's
and again, now with the
parts.
2 kids, like especially as your second will then go to daycare and school and whatever, and they've got to be different places, different times. It can be a lot to manage. So there is a solution.
Or is there?
Let's find out.
It's not for kids our age, but there is a thing called Uber Teen. I have been dying to learn more about it. I'm somebody who uses Uber myself. You don't really, are you?
I don't use Uber.
You're not, it's a drinking thing versus a not drinking thing.
So, well, Doug will use, like, we'll go to an event and then he'll get up and be like, I'm going to the bathroom, and then text me and be like, oh, I'm in an Uber. See you tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, what a power move.
Yeah, no, he's, and I understand, like, when he's had enough, and I'm like, I like to schmooze and hang and,
So our friend Zahid Arab is the public policy and communications person for the West region of Uber. Oh my gosh, Zahid, how are you?
Hello, Internet.
I mean,
hello.
I have heard you called many things. That is probably the fanciest one I've ever heard. Public policy and communications.
I know. We're lucky. This is a big get for us, actually.
So we all worked together at Fox back in the day, all at the same time, right?
Yeah.
We were all there with Calvert, and that was kind of...
Yeah.
And then you were like... Mates. And then you left and went to Phoenix, right? And then you were like, I'm out of...
And San Francisco.
Right? Well, LA News, right?
No, I left news in Phoenix.
Right.
Yeah, I went into management and then decided needed something different.
Yeah. So, okay, talk to us. I mean, so I feel like Uber kind of like they are the OG of ride sharing, right? This was kind of these are the people that kind of pioneered this concept of, you know, making everybody's car a taxi, essentially. So how does this program differ from what we're traditionally used to?
Well, you know, we all need to be places, and so do our teens, you know, whether it's recitals, practices, you know, homework trainings or group studies with classmates.
Tutors.
Yeah. And so the traditional person, not you two, work till 5, 5:30 with Dallas traffic.
Oh,
we work.
Is that shade? We work a lot. Oh, he's saying because earlier hours.
Non-traditional work.
True. But yeah, like 9 to 5 is kind of the gig for most parents.
Exactly. And so this is a way to kind of, get 2 birds, 1 stone, help get your teens where they need to go. And you can take care of work and they can take care of what they need to do.
So the first question, obviously, for parents is going to be,
what the heck?
Why?
Just kidding.
Is it safe? Is this a special fleet of drivers? Is there additional background? Tell me all of the things that you need to anticipate.
Yeah, exactly. So, the first thing we like to say is have a conversation with your teens. If you feel like this is a service that you want to use, have a conversation with your teen of how you expect them to interact on the platform. What kind of trips they should be taking. Obviously, it also works for Uber Eats. What not to order.
Food you could be ordering.
Exactly. And so have that conversation and discuss how you want them to interact with the platform. And then you create a family account. And what you'll do is the adult will open up their Uber app and create a family account and then send invitations to your teen. And then they'll get an alert on their phone and they sign up and they're added to the family account, which is all linked to the parent's account. So credit card information, everything is linked to the parent's account.
Can the child request a ride without the parent? Or does the parent request the ride?
So no, once they set up an account through their parent, the family account, the teen is free to book rides and get deliveries as whenever they want. So it's not up to the parent. However, there are special safety features involved with this. Yeah. And so if you have a family account, as soon as your teen books a ride, the parent's going to get an alert. Aside from the alert, they'll also get the license plate number, the name of the driver, the location, and they'll also have ability to kind of follow along with a GPS tracker. And if for any reason they need to contact the driver, they're also able to kind of connect to the driver and call them right away. So
this is different then, because I feel like a lot of people are like, okay, well, how is this different from my kid just having my Uber login and ordering a ride? Is there a specific fleet of drivers that are cleared for Uber Teen that might not, in addition to being cleared for the general public?
Exactly. There's a higher threshold that drivers who do these trips have to meet. They have to be highly rated and have also a clean clean record. And aside from that, we want to make sure that the drivers that do these rides are the ones that do them. So it's essentially like if you qualify from a safety perspective and you've got a great record, you're going to be invited to opt into teen rides. And if you still have this, if you're like, hey, not me, not a teen person, totally great. You're not going to get assigned these teen rides. It's only people that opt in. And we actually tested this product back in Phoenix earlier this year. And I kind of helped do some outreach to kind of talk to drivers as to, hey, what do you think about it? How can we improve it? And the majority of drivers that opt into this, I've found, are actually retired grandparents, parents that are, using the platform to earn supplemental income. But they've all told me, gosh, when my kids were in school, I wish we had something like this. And aside from, making extra money on the platform, they feel the sense of, being there for other people's kids and making sure that, like I'm a grandparent, I'm a parent. I want to make sure, I feel like this is an important service to the community.
Oh, that's interesting. What ages can use it?
13 to 17.
Okay. After 17, you're on your own. Prior to 13,
so
mom and dad have to take you, or your actual grandmother rather than your hired grandmother via Uber.
Well, actually, once you hit 18, your account automatically becomes an adult account.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do the kids get ratings?
Yes, and
the teens do,
or the teens. Yes.
I'm about to give you guys a no gifts, please exclusive.
Ooh, yes. Bring it.
Ready?
Yes.
So teen accounts, the riders on teen accounts actually get rated 5 stars, way more than adult riders.
Oh, really? Because they behave better?
They behave better. And I think that, we talked about this.
Because they're not drunk.
That sobriety probably has something to do with it.
It really does. Yeah, maybe. But I think, for the most part, parents that have conversations with these teens about how to, use the platform, I think they're like, be respectful. Don't slam the door. Just be a responsible person. I think, most people who, are involved in extracurricular activities, they're too tired. They just want to get to where they need to go.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to double click on something that you mentioned. You said that for this particular fleet of drivers, safety check, is there any sort of enhanced background check as well? Or is it just purely, hey, you're a safe, highly rated driver?
So all of our drivers go through a background check, and they have to do it on a frequent basis. These drivers that opt in, we do much more frequent checks to make sure nothing pops up. And so if something pops up, we'll kind of, take the ability off their account to do teen rides.
Can the teen bring their friend?
Yes, they can bring their friend, and anyone that's 13 to 17. And
then I'm picturing, like, I remember I watched a video on sort of how you contact your parent or how the parent can contact them, because that would be me, smother mother alert. Like, okay, my teen just got in the car. Now I want to see her. I want to put my eyes on her. How does that work when you initiate that call? Or I want to call her and be like, are you okay? Do you feel good? Is this grandma or grandpa with Uber? Are they, is everything on the up and up? How does that work?
Well, that's a great question. And the one thing I want to kind of double click on as well is, there are certain safety features that we have on every Uber ride, but for the teen rides, every single one of these safety features are active and cannot be turned off. For instance, when a teen gets a car arrives, a teen ride, they have to give a PIN to the driver. If the driver doesn't put that PIN in, the ride doesn't start. In addition to that, aside from the parent following along with the GPS, and in their app, they can actually press a button and talk to the driver right away. Aside from that, we also have live alerts. And so if for some reason the trip, veers off course or is idle longer than a stoplight, what happens is it'll be an alert both on the driver's app and the rider's app just to make sure they're okay. And this is actually, I always tell friends, if you're going to, run through the McDonald's drive-through, always at a stop, because if you're idle for a long time, our internal safety checks are going to think, hey, something might be wrong.
Right.
Yeah, let's check.
That's great.
Are there any restrictions on where kids or teens can get picked up? I mean, do you have to be at an address? Could you be on a street corner? Could you be...
Definitely an address.
Okay.
And on the Uber Eats side,
because I know sometimes, like if I'm in Manhattan, for example, or in Chicago or somewhere, and I'm like, oh, let's grab an Uber, and you're just like, oh, I'm on the corner of whatever, come get me. Can teens do that as well, or is it like, okay, I need to know kind of what the origin is?
It's got to be an address.
Okay.
Yeah, and on the Uber Eats side, obviously, if you order a pizza or whatever, you can do that. But things like adult beverages and other things that might be age restricted don't even show up on their app.
You can put in like nutritional requirements, like at the school lunch thing, that you can put a limit on how many bags of chips your child can put on their card, or like how many cookies they can buy. Yes. They just started that at my daughter's school, because apparently kids were like getting $20 worth of chips, or they were doing a thing where it'd be like, cookies on me, like buying around. The kid version of buying around.
You should have kids. It's super fun.
So they were spending
eating seaweed all day. I don't think she's
exactly. She was not buying around. She was not participating in it. But apparently that's a thing. So okay, that's interesting. The Uber Eats.
Is there a price difference? Is this an enhanced service? Is it any more expensive for my teen to take Uber?
Nope, just priced like any other ride.
And okay, can I also set so you were saying if I'm a parent and my teen is using Uber Teen, I'll get a notice saying, hey, they just booked the ride. So before they're even picked up, I know where they're going.
Exactly. You know where they're going, the destination, and you'll get a second alert when they get there.
Are there any preset rules here? Like, hey, you can take, like, it's Uber Teen, and these are the destinations they're allowed to go to, like my house, school, or whatever? Or is there like a mile, like she can't travel 50 miles away? Or how does that work?
Well, I think that's going to be between you and your teen.
Mm-hmm.
We don't restrict anything because, I don't think we have the capabilities to do that. But I think that's a question for you and your team. Like, hey, these are the acceptable places that you can go to and from school or to and from the gym or the game or things like that.
Well, and I'm assuming if I just got an alert that my teen booked a ride and it's like, oh, she's going to,
Jacob's
Oklahoma,
going to grandma's house in New York.
Right. Then I can immediately call my teen and be like, the hell you are, and does the parent have the ability to, since my teen is booking, I, as a parent, do I have the ability to intervene in any kind of substantive way if I'm like, you're
cancel.
not right. You're not going there.
Yeah, you can probably call them right away when you see them get
Gotcha.
booked. Yeah, and the other thing to mention is frequently, like, if you and I hop into a car and you get one address for a party or somewhere you need to go, and then you're like, oh, actually, I need to stop here. Let me change the address. You can't change the address with teen rides.
Oh, interesting. So once it's in, that's where you're going.
That's where you're going.
Gotcha.
Okay. Was there any part of the country where this is really taking off, or where you're seeing people are like, this is really popular there?
Yeah, it's pretty it's gaining popularity, but we've seen especially in places where not a lot of people have cars. For instance, like New York, Toronto, San Francisco. But it's really catching on in the suburbs too, other places. And I would say the busiest times, it's not going to be a shocker, but afternoons and weekends.
I would imagine.
No, that makes sense. Those afternoons are really tough with figuring it out. And I'm kind of thinking, my initial read on this is just like, oh my gosh, of course not. No way. And then my next read is the alternative. I think often in that age group is a ride from a friend. Who you may or may not know anything about their driving skills or their background or their driving record or their family or, all of these different things. You don't have a background check on them. So then I think, well, if you're in that situation, this seems safer.
Well, listen, and on the back end of that, when some of these kids are 16, 17, and maybe they're at a party where there's drinking or whatever else is going on, the ability to be like, all right, I'm gonna get out of here. So for the parents who are listening, who are saying, okay, my kid already has access to my Uber login. Why don't I just keep doing that? What's your advice for them in terms of saying, okay, this is why you should opt for this particular service as opposed to just letting your kid use your account?
Well, first of all, the person that requests the ride needs to be the one that's riding. So they shouldn't be doing that.
Oh, okay. See, I'm not familiar enough with how it works. So when I, if my kid has my login,
because Doug always ditches you,
right? I don't take Uber.
You're left to drive yourself.
Exactly. So when my kid uses my login to book a ride, and then Joe driver pulls up and they're like, Suzanne, is that you? And you're like, no, it's not. Then they won't take you.
Definitely, and that's a great point. But I think with all the safety features that we mentioned, I think you have all these extra layers of safety that are added onto the teen rides. So you're going to want that. And you're going to want to be able to talk, intervene and talk to the driver or talk to your child and see where they're going.
And for parents like Jenny, are there any plans in the work to have some sort of like live webcam where she could watch her daughter in the back of the car during the duration of the ride from her cell phone? Can we request that?
I mean, didn't she already chip her daughter?
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny. Heath just sent me this little thing you can hide in a ponytail holder. And he's like, I'm sure you've already purchased this.
Oh, we air tag our kids for field trips.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
whatever.
I want to see this ponytail.
Yeah, it's like a hook and ponytail. Then you can track it and then also get video. It's definitely pushing some boundaries.
Yeah. Okay.
But all right, I could send that with my child, and I guess you can FaceTime your child too. Sure. Right. There's nothing stopping you from FaceTiming your child while they're in the car.
Listen, at the end of the day, I think that there has to be a certain amount of trust between parent and child for any of this stuff, particularly if the advice here, the conventional wisdom is you need to educate your kid on how to properly use this service, right?
As in anything.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, where can people find out more information?
Uber.com, or just Google it, or hit up Steve and Jenny.
It'll pop up on the regular Uber app.
If you just Google Uber Teen, there's a huge page that has frequently asked questions. It really goes into the safety aspects and really talks about the background checks for drivers.
And available right now wherever Uber is available.
It's available in 115 cities in 32 states.
And Dallas, obviously one of them.
Dallas was in the first wave in May, I believe.
Perfect. Okay, always good to see you, friend.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you're doing so well.
I love it, right?
We're like grown up.
Professional job.
Fancy.
Oh my gosh, that title again. What was that title that Zahid had?
Public Policy and Communications West Region.
Thank you, Zahid.
Okay, so
Uber seems like such a cool place to work. Side note.
Yeah, I do feel. Well, they have that beautiful facility in Deep Ellum now here as well, which I believe Z is going to be working out of there for the next couple of days. Okay, so now that he's gone, would you?
Well, like I said, my initial thought was just absolutely not. But I also can't track. Like I'm thinking, well, also I'm hoping that our kids, like there's some other alternative to cars when they'll be flying their own little helicopters or drones from place to place. However, when you weigh the comparison between them driving with a stranger who I cannot track
and who probably just got their license.
Exactly. Right. Versus someone who's been background checked, then that's a yes for me. But I still always prefer, I mean, my preference would be that at 16, I'm still picking them up in booster seats and hearing them request Kids Bop. So I'm still in kind of my own fantasy land.
Well, and listen, I think that for us, you bring up a valid point. I mean, this is for kids, between 13 and 17. Yeah. So my boys are 5 and 7 right now. So we're talking,
6 years.
But twice. So twice as much of the lifespan as they've had, as the oldest has had now before we even get here.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, I think that Doug, no, I don't think that he would go for it. But again, I think that
I'm not sure Heath hasn't already sent Brighton in an Uber by herself. Actually,
perhaps
got her a fake ID.
Yeah. I think that listen, if I wonder sometimes, don't you? I mean, right now they're little tiny kids, right? Like they're going to be teenagers one day, and it's going to be a whole different relationship.
It's so wild thinking back too. I got my license when I was 15, and bought my car when I was 15. Yeah, and was driving a stick. Just out there in the world.
It's actually, when I was growing up, it was 18 in New York. Unless you took driver's ed, then you can do 17.
Wait, there's people that don't take driver's ed?
Well, I guess everybody took it. I took it because, but it was incentivized. You couldn't get your license if you took driver's ed. You can get it at 17. If you didn't take driver's ed, you get it at 18
without going to driver's ed.
Yeah, no.
What?
Your parent teaches you how to drive a car in the parking lot of the Roosevelt Field Mall.
This is the problem. This is why Heath doesn't know about following distance. Like the 1/1000, 2/1000.
I mean, he learned how to drive on a tractor.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's an excellent driver. I really shouldn't say anything. He gets us everywhere we need to go and weaves in and out of Dallas traffic. But I didn't realize. I guess I didn't realize that was not an option.
Yeah, no, for sure. All you have to do is pass the test. Do you think everybody who gets a license takes this class?
I'm having an embarrassing moment right now in front of everybody. I did. I thought everybody.
No.
I thought everybody did that.
No. Yeah. You just walk in and, I mean, you have to take the test, like a road test.
You have to know the rules of the road, right?
But you don't have to take a class in order to do that.
I think that needs to change.
Well, perhaps the folks at Uber can, change all of that.
Or everyone can just ride in an Uber. That's fine too.
There you go.
Some sort of professional that's got some sort of credibility.
It is Doug's driver of choice for an Irish goodbye when we are at an event he does not want to be at. So...
I love an Irish goodbye.
Thanks to our friends at Uber for being here today. And hey, we want to remind you can join us every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. for a brand new episode. You can find us wherever podcasts are available. Our thanks to our sponsor, Vandergriff, Acura, Toyota, and Honda, who we are thrilled to have on board. And remember, click like, click subscribe. And if you do nothing else today, go find yourself a friend you don't need to clean the house for. Bye-bye.